three-pointers have taken
They're
over the
breaking
NBA.
again.
The shot transformed from a gimmick so underutilized that the league had to move the three-point line closer to the hoop just to incentivize teams to take more, to a shot that now determines the outcome of many games. But after an entire era of seemingly exponential growth, recently the barrage of three-pointers appeared to stabilize. In fact, the league had become so saturated with threes that the scales had flipped and two-pointers became slightly more valuable than three-pointers. Just like anything else, something that was good and effective but only up to a certain point, and that point had been reached. The shot was pushed to its fullest extent, and the three-point revolution had met its inevitable conclusion. Except it didn't. This season, teams across the NBA are shooting more.
I was about to say, I don't feel like that's correct. I really was about to say that, like, because I've been hearing, while I haven't been crazy locked into the NBA the way that I want to be, and I promise I'm gonna try to be, just been real busy. I've been hearing about teams just shooting threes, seeing kids. Like a crazy amount of threes.
More threes than ever before. Some teams with the majority of all of their shots being taken from beyond the arc. A new generation of stars.
What happened to Catfish? We just finished it.
More trigger happy from three than the players that came before them. And games that feel like one long three-point contest. Is the NBA on a path to being a league featuring exclusively long balls, layups, and nothing else? Well, in 2015, right about the time the league began to shift away from the basket, Steph Curry attempted 8 three-pointers per game, the highest total in the league that season, and just the 5th
I did a scouting
player
report.
in NBA
Why the was Yao gatekeeping Shorty valid?
You a freak ass. You went there and go scout it.
To attempt at least 8 threes a game. By the next season, 3 other players joined him as ultra high volume three-point shooters. But by 2020, the number of players across the league attempting at least 8 threes a game jumped to 15. The three-point revolution was long in effect by this point, and it would remain at this level for the next few seasons. The league seemingly finding its equilibrium on threes and how many are even worth taking. Until this season, where there are 24 players in the NBA who are attempting what was once considered a historic amount of threes just a decade ago.
Oh my God, LaMelo! Melo!
Something is changing
That over here with goddamn Prime Harden
in the NBA right now. Are we nearing the end of the three-point era, or are we just getting started? Today's video is brought to you by
Shout out to SeatGeek. I just bought my tickets from SeatGeek.
Trey_ only cheered X100. It is crazy the Blazers shot 4-42 from 3 in a game this season.
That is disgusting. That is disgusting. Man, that is trash. Imagine that being your favorite team. 4 of 42? I bought these expensive ass tickets, paid this expensive ass parking, bought this expensive ass food with this expensive ass drink, just to watch y'all put on a master class of ass. You got me f***ed up.
In 2016, the Golden State Warriors completely redefined how basketball is played. For the first time, a team that centered their offense around the three ball proved that it can be a championship-winning strategy. And they weren't just a three-point oriented team, they were the three-point team. They bucked age-old notions of what great basketball could look like, their star duo named after their shooting abilities, the most influential team of our generation. That season, the Warriors shot 31.6 three-pointers per game, the second most of any team in league history and by far the most of any true championship caliber team. This season, every single team in the NBA attempts more threes a game than the 2016 Warriors did.
The Celtics is crazy!
Reshaping the league far more than anyone could have anticipated. But teams aren't just shooting more threes than ever before. They are approaching the point where the majority of all shots taken in a game are three-pointers. Here's a game between the Hornets and the Celtics, and with 10:36 left in the third quarter, Jason Tatum attempts a three. The Hornets come back and attempt a three as well. Celtics turn it over, Hornets attempt a three. Celtics come down and attempt another three. Hornets come down and attempt a three, followed by a Celtics three, followed by a Hornets 3, followed by another 3. Celtics switch it up for a moment with a layup, and then right back to a Hornets 3. Turnover, Hornets 3, Celtics 3, Hornets 3, Celtics 3. This,
I'm being honest, that's kind of ass. How many did they make in this span?
was a real sequence in an NBA game. This actually happened. A 4-minute stretch where both teams combined for nearly 14 consecutive three-point attempts if it wasn't for an easy layup at the rim. This is insane, and it's not even out of the ordinary this season. Here's another sequence between the Celtics and the Knicks. Now, this was already a blowout, so you never know what you're going to get in these situations. But how about a 3-ball followed up with a turnover, another 3-ball, and another 3-ball, and another 3-ball, another turnover, 3-ball, turnover, 3-ball. Oh, look, there's a layup. And then back to another 3-ball.
They missing all these threes.
And a 3-ball. And take a wild guess, a 3-ball. 3 straight minutes of three-pointers.
And 3 straight minutes of missing.
8 from the Celtics alone. And they missed all 8. But even this was nothing compared to what happened in a game between the Hornets and the Hawks. With 1 minute and 45 seconds left in the first quarter, the Hornets made a mid-range jump shot. What's so special about this mid-range bucket?
That's the last one of the game.
Well, nothing, other than the fact that this would be the last shot they would make
outside
of layups and three-pointers for the rest of the entire game. For the next 37 minutes of game time, outside of free throws, every single point the Hornets scored until the end of the game was from right here or out here. In fact, throughout this entire game, the Hornets scored 120 points. Only 4 of them came from a shot that wasn't a three-pointer, a layup, or a free throw. Has the complex...
And nigga, guess what? This one that counts as the 4, his foot was on the line.
Rich and diverse game that we love truly been reduced to this? It certainly feels that way at times. Through 100 games so far this season, a whopping 42% of all field goal attempts have been from beyond the three-point line, a total that has nearly doubled since 2012. Sometimes it feels like we're watching one big three-point contest.
Godly cheered X100. To add some context to that Celtics Knicks clip, they was shooting almost 70% from the 3 before they pulled the status and had tied the record. The bench players was chucking 3s trying to break it.
Oh, you know what? I did hear that. You're right. Okay, you see, context is important.
But
also, too, you got to think, they shot so many 3s, they tied the record. Like,
at times, we are. In fact, at the current rate the league is going, which may or may not continue, half of all shots taken in an NBA game will be three-pointers by the 2032 season. But it's not just that teams are attempting more three-pointers. Teams have regressed to taking only the best, most efficient shots on the court. Three-pointers, layups when they're available, and hardly anything in between. Excluding free throws.
No cap, bro. I don't know why. Some of my favorite style of games is the dudes that know how to kill in the mid-range.
Trey_only chicks 100. What happened to the game? I loved shaking my head.
The Warriors, they changed the game, really. But, bro, like the dudes that's not centers, they got a post game and cook. Boy, frying, bro, and it's and they can do about it, bro. KD is a mid-range guy. Bro, KD one of my favorite players in the league. Like, I know KD will cook in the mid-range. DeRozan cook. Kawhi with his ass be on the goddamn court wanting to play. Kawhi shoots some mid-range. It's like, bro, the mid-range game is a lost art.
86% of all points scored from NBA teams this season have been from beyond the three-point line or within 6 feet of the basket. 20 years ago, only 65% of all points were scored from these zones. Now, this upward trend of near and far and nothing in between may not continue. Over the past few seasons, there has been some stagnation in three-point attempt rate, so there may be a shift in the other direction in the coming years. But the NBA tends to follow the leader. What are the winning teams doing, and how can we adapt, emulate, and optimize that style of play? And right now, as much as we can't stand it, winning basketball looks a lot like a three-point shootout. Before the beginning of this season, Celtics head coach Joe Mazzulla said the team planned on shooting a lot more threes this year. They did the math, and it checked out. We need more threes. But outside of Harden's Rockets, last year's Celtics attempted more three-pointers than any other team in NBA history. It was a recipe that was so good, it helped them win a championship. How many more threes could they possibly shoot? 51. This year's Celtics are shooting 51 three-pointers per game. That is 56% of all of their field goal attempts. Arguably the best team in the league, coming off of a championship, is shooting 6 more three-pointers per game than any other team in league.
Let me see the standings. I'm finna stop saying I'm locked in. I'm finna get locked in. NBA standings. They 10-3, gang. How can you tell them to stop? Celtics the Cavs 14-0. Shout out to the Cavs, bro.
League history. But are three-pointers and the sheer volume of them really a recipe for winning basketball? Is this truly the future of the game and what teams will need to do to compete? Well, so far this season, teams that win the three-point battle, when they score more net points from three-pointers than their opponent, have won 72% of the time. And this one metric has been more indicative to winning than just about any other. Last season, there was an 85.6% correlation between three-point percentage and winning percentage, the strongest correlation between the two variables in NBA history. Make more three-pointers, greatly increase your odds of winning the game. But that's pretty obvious. Of course, making more threes.
The ratings will keep going down if this shit. Wait, where did it go? Oh, if this shit stays like this. Yeah, like real shit. I think the NBA was not. I think the NBA is dealing with an issue with ratings. I do think that it'll ultimately solve itself and figure itself out because basketball is just too great of a sport, honestly. But yeah, I do think that this style of play is turning some people off. Now, if it's a lot of people or a little people, I don't know. But I do know it's turning some people off. But this shit, just watching a bunch of threes being chunked up a lot of times is ass if they missing them. Now, if they are making them, it's an exciting game, period. Like, you're like, oh, shit, bang, bang, bang. But just to watch 4 minutes of misses and they all threes, I'm like, damn. None of y'all niggas got a mid-range game? Yo, this center can't drop step or nothing? Like,
will better your odds. We have seen massive underdogs win games by pouring in three-pointers and hitting more than they probably should have. Will teams eventually reach the threshold of three-pointers that are worth taking in a game? Or is the shot just so valuable that we will inevitably see a league that finds no value in taking any shot outside of the long ball? There must be a sweet spot between shooting exclusively threes and no threes, where we will eventually see the limit of good, viable three-pointers. Oddly enough,
bro, the younger player in the game that I really fuck with, I'm a fan of Anthony Edwards. That motherfucker is cold. Obviously, his fan base is growing. I'm a fan of his game, and I like Ja Morant's game. These are two dudes. The reason why I fuck with their game, bro, because them niggas know how to drive, bro. They'll go to the rim and be aggressive, drive. They got finesse. They got touch. Like, I fuck with that. And like, I think more people, I know you need ability to do it, but I would like to see more young stars like do that. Like, not just set up all these threes, but the problem with Ant this year is Ant shooting a shit ton of threes because that's what everybody else is doing as well.
The league may have already met that limit. As previously mentioned, three-pointers used to yield more points per shot than two-pointers for many years. Teams eventually figured this out and they capitalized on it. But this inadvertently led to two-pointers becoming more valuable. As teams focused their defensive efforts on stopping the three ball, they got spread thin, the rim opened wide up, offenses got rid of long
I understand the game is changing, but if Wemby would perfect his simple hook shot, he would literally be unstoppable.
I understand where you're coming from.
Range jumpers.
But like the thing is, there's a lot of people that like, bro, if you just work on this and do this, it'll help them, but it's just not the game. That's what niggas don't want to do. I remember this is an example. It kind of goes to what you were saying, just bear with me. Even though it's an effective way, some motherfuckers just don't want to do it, period. I remember Dwight Howard super fucking trash at goddamn shooting free throws. Niggas was like, bro, can you just shoot them bitches underhand like Rick Barry? And niggas said, no, I ain't doing that shit. That old ass shit. It's a pride thing. I don't think niggas doing it with the hook shot. It was like, nah, I'm not doing it. I don't want to do it now. Like, the underhanded free throw is proven to improve your shit. It might be easier to make, but niggas just don't want to do that shit, nigga.
And for the
bitches seeing me shoot like a granny.
The first time in over 3 decades, 2-pointers produce just as many points per shot as 3-pointers. How do we know if or when teams are shooting too many threes? Well, intuitively, it would be at the point where 3-pointers lose their statistical advantage over 2s, which has already happened. The problem of too many threes has already statistically corrected itself. But despite this, the Celtics and many other teams are committed to shooting more threes than they previously did. They are aware of the data, and they still decided that upping their 3-point rate is the answer. Steve Kerr has said that it would be hard for the Warriors to compete without shooting a high volume of threes. Mike Budenholzer said he thinks the sport is in a good place, and that threes create more space to be more athletic and dynamic going to the basket. Devin Booker, a player who utilizes and values the mid-range game as much as any player in the league, said the volume should be up. Attempting the 3-point shot, not even making it, stretches out the defense and opens up better looks throughout the game. Teams know that the 2-pointers today aren't as valuable as they are in spite of threes. 2-pointers today have become so valuable because of threes.
Man, bro, like, and that's actually a good point. Didn't think of that. Bro, the defense, yo, niggas are only worrying about defending the threes. That Luka clip was horrible. What game was that? Was that Timberwolves? What game was that Luka gave that shit up at? That shit was horrible.
Teammates up, I don't need any help. Oh, Collins!
And then he turned around. Bro, this is absolutely ass.
Devin Booker stated, even when they aren't going in, the spacing and ball movement that 3-pointers provides to teams creates an incredible advantage compared to any other shot. In fact, it's no coincidence that points per shot on 2-pointers began to climb rapidly at the same exact time as the 3-point revolution. When you force teams to guard the 3, you also force them to give up the 2. This whole time, we've been watching these games thinking teams are shooting way too many threes. And all along, they weren't just shooting threes because they're worth more points. They've been shooting more threes to create more points in other areas. The direct benefits of volume 3-pointers actually plateaued quite a while ago. Teams aren't yielding more points per shot on threes today than they did a decade ago. But the indirect benefits of volume 3s continues to grow the more teams make and take them. Which means, in theory, the number of threes we're seeing.
Honestly, this is a great video because me and my casual mind, I'm not a basketball guy like that for real. I never would have looked at this and thought about this like that. Like, I'm like, damn, like, it is helping the floor, but I just would like to see more mid-range play.
Lil Toothless underscore just resubscribed for 14 months.
Thank you for the sub.
Teams take could continue to climb despite the fact that they are already at the peak of their direct statistical advantage. But just how much further could this go? Well, this is where things get really interesting. If we ignore the caliber of teams and the efficiency of their shooting and just look purely at volume, then through over 150 games so far this season, teams have found by far the most success when they shoot somewhere between 46 and 52% of all of their shots from beyond the arc. This season, when teams put up a 3-point attempt rate between 46 and 52%, they have won over 70% of the time. Meanwhile, teams that shoot at a rate outside of this hypothetical sweet spot have won just 48% of the time, which means despite as many 3-pointers teams are shooting, statistically, they may still not be shooting enough. And it may only be a matter of time before—
Yo, Big Blue, I'm so sorry, gang. I'm sorry you seen that.
Teams use this information and slowly creep towards this rate of 50% of all of their shots consisting of 3-pointers. Last week, Nick Wright had a great monologue discussing the advantages of volume 3-point shooting and how teams who can design an effective offense built around them have an incredible statistical advantage.
The league needs to change some rules. They have finally figured out it's not only that 3 is worth more than 2, it's that 3 is worth a lot more than 2. Because there is a 50% premium on 3-point shots, the smart way to play
Trey
is probably
underscore
what the
only
Celtics
cheered
did.
X100. It does open up opportunities for fast breaks because you get long rebounds.
True.
That's why you see all these guards get these triple doubles.
True. True.
On opening night. Shoot 60 of them things. That is the best strategy. That is also terrible television. And I love
Yes,
the
it
league.
is.
I love it. But this is not sustainable. At its core, the NBA is at its best when dudes are flying over people,
Yes, it
meeting
is.
them at the rim. Hanging out at the three-point line, hoisting 30-footers is not good TV. And you are going down a path where the games are less compelling television and the fans are worried, do the players even care? It's just a warning to a league I love. You are playing a dangerous, dangerous game.
But my question is, look, Kendrick Perkins and Nate Robinson. How do you change the rule? What do you do? Like, that's what the game is. So maybe it's for the basketball guys that I don't understand. Like, I can understand I can understand and like explain how to maybe possibly fix something in football, basketball. This is not. I love basketball. I've been watching it forever, but I never played it. It's a lot of shit I'll never understand. How do you fix it? Like,
If what the Warriors did in the mid-2010s
limit threes per quarter? That sounds crazy. Like, what's something that you can limit somebody besides fouls? Like, that's come on, bro. Never mind, y'all. He was wide open, but that was their 12th three of the quarter. Like,
broke the game of basketball, then teams today are eviscerating it. They have essentially cracked the code. Decades of experimenting with different schemes and offensive
Push it back?
designs and
Okay.
player personnel through trial and error has led teams to the correct answer. Nothing beats a bunch of good looks at three. It may not be pretty. It may lack the nuance and diversity that we used to see in the league, but it has been proven to be the most effective method of winning basketball games. How much further can this possibly go? Well, fortunately, there seems to be an upper limit to the ideal volume of threes before the returns become diminished. That limit is probably about 50%. Unfortunately for us, the NBA is still nowhere near that limit.
that's a great video. This motherfucker got one of the best channels on YouTube. Like, no bullshit. This motherfucker has great videos, bro. Great fucking videos. All right.